Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Big royal news today, and it's sparking a massive debate across the world. Prince William is reportedly furious and is now preparing to take the boldest step yet against Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Yes, we're talking about stripping them of their royal titles. The HRH status they were never supposed to use again, but apparently still are. If you're into royal family drama, inside scoops, and real talk, make sure you smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Let's dive in.
Prince William is reportedly formulating a plan to finally strip Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their HRH titles. Riley Sullivan is a lifestyle reporter here at skynews.com.au, and he's always across the latest celebrity headlines. Riley, great to see you.
Great to be here.
Prince William, he's reportedly furious after it emerged that Meghan Markle is still using her HRH title despite agreeing to drop the title when the Sussexes left royal duties. How is Will planning to deal with this?
Yes, you're absolutely right. I think Meghan Markle has been very brazen recently with the use of the HRH. Now, royal fans will know in 2020, during the negotiations for Harry and Meghan to leave royal duties, it was agreed with Queen Elizabeth that they will not use the HRH title. That is a long-standing precedent, and there's good reason for it. Basically, the HRH is only given to working royals and senior members of the royal family because it denotes a level of I guess, respect in the public, and also it's not a financial thing. Working royals do not profit; they do not use their names to make money. It's an honour to have an HRH.
Absolutely.
So the fact that she's continued to use this HRH when they've been instructed not to, I think is absolutely infuriating in Buckingham Palace. And there was a very interesting source inside, close to the Prince of Wales, who spoke to the Daily Beast. He said that William's furious, unsurprisingly, and he's also already formulating plans to deal with this when he becomes monarch. I think that he feels that King Charles, God bless him, is in poor health at the moment, has other priorities, and I think that Will feels that this has just gotten out of hand, and we need to take a tougher line basically in the family against Harry and Meghan. So I think the understanding is that when he becomes monarch, they will be formally stripped of the HRH.
So here's the deal. Back in 2020, when Harry and Meghan stepped away from royal duties, it was agreed, with Queen Elizabeth, that they would no longer use the HRH titles. That's short for His or Her Royal Highness, and it's a symbol of being an active, working royal. It wasn't just a tradition, it was a boundary set by the monarchy. Meghan and Harry were free to start their new life, but the royal branding, that was supposed to stay behind.
And I'm sure Prince William has a lot of support for that from the public.
Absolutely.
Now, Prince William and Princess Catherine have celebrated their 14th wedding anniversary during a break in Scotland. Look, I can't believe it's been 14 years.
Me neither.
That must have been very special.
Oh, absolutely. And Scotland is special for them. One, because this is where they met. They were at the University of St Andrews in Scotland. So it's sentimental for them. And they were there for a 2-day visit, and they visited the Isle of Mull. And this was a place on the Scottish coast where they did go when they were first dating. I don't even know if they were dating yet. I think they were just friends at that point.
Right.
So it's very special and very sentimental, and yeah, just lovely. But as you said, it's can't believe it's been 14 years since that amazing royal wedding at Westminster Abbey.
Wasn't it incredible? I know,
was.
bring back so many memories. Everyone here in Australia was celebrating or hosting their own royal wedding parties to mark the occasion. But 14 years, it's great to see them going strong. Prince Andrew, he's facing more controversy after the BBC revealed fresh revelations about Andrew's financial dealings. What was the biggest takeaway from the BBC report?
Yes, so this was a report that appeared in the BBC earlier this week, and it was basically to do with Pitch Palace, which was, as royal sort of watchers will probably remember, Pitch Palace was is almost like a Shark Tank style show, but it wasn't a show, it was a presentation at the palace where Prince Andrew would basically invite investors to meet with young entrepreneurs and business people, and it was sort of an opportunity to network. So, I think it was something at the time that was considered quite a positive thing that Andrew was doing as a working royal, and he sort of had these contacts that he gleaned from that role, and it was valuable in a way, and it was, I guess, his personal, venture. And so after he was stripped, or I should say stepped back from royal life after the notorious Newsnight interview, the ownership of that Pitchett Palace kind of venture was transferred to a man named Doug Barrowman, who is a very high-profile British millionaire and quite controversial because there's been allegedly allegations that he was involved in perhaps some kind of tax avoidance schemes. So quite a controversial figure at the moment. But basically the takeaway from this whole thing is that Andrew's finances are murky. It's very unclear where his wealth is coming from. How is he funding Royal Lodge? Like we know that King Charles is not paying for the property. So they've managed to hang in there. We've been talking about it on this show now for over a year. They haven't been evicted. They've managed to stay there. So they are funding it. And we know that it's multi-million pounds every year to pay for that property. So it's very unclear, but I've heard from a source, which I can't really go too much into, that there's a lot more to come about Andrew's finances. So stay tuned for that.
Now let's talk public reaction. And it's mixed, but leaning one way. A lot of people are backing William. Many royal fans say it's time to enforce the rules. If you're no longer a working royal, you don't get to keep the perks. Others believe it's just fueling more division and drama in a family that's already fractured. What do you think? Should Harry and Meghan be stripped of the titles for good? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone.
Okay, looking forward to hearing more, Riley. Now, heartbreaking new details have emerged about the shocking death of Prince Andrew's accuser, Virginia Giuffre.
Yeah.
What have former neighbours and friends had to say about her passing?
Look, this is just such a tragic case. Virginia Giuffre she showed so much bravery in her life.
Absolutely.
She spoke out against Jeffrey Epstein and I guess Prince Andrew and the British establishment in a way, which took amazing courage and bravery. And I think people don't credit her. I think people focus on the financial aspect of her deal with Prince Andrew and the settlement. But, her bravery and her coming forward, that inspired other people who were victims of Jeffrey Epstein and these awful people to come forward. And I think that she was a very courageous person. And it's so sad to know that, she's taken her own life. In Australia, of all places, Australia was a haven for her. She came here with her husband, Robert Giuffre, after she escaped, the clutches of Epstein, and this was her haven. She rebuilt her life here. She lived at times in Queensland, in New South Wales, and finally in Western Australia. And friends and neighbours have talked about, what an amazing woman she was. She changed her name. They knew her under different names. One of them was Jenna. And she was a normal mum. She was just a person that was, had gone through these sort of awful and dark and kind of extraordinary circumstances, and she really rallied. So it's absolutely heartbreaking. There was a note that allegedly Virginia wrote that her sister-in-law has released, and it kind of just was somber. It said, talked about fighting for women, fighting for victims of trafficking, and I hope that's her legacy, and I hope that people don't take this path of conspiracy, because at the end of the day, she was a brave woman who lived in very kind of exceptional circumstances.
Absolutely, and she should be remembered for her courage and her bravery and the devastating news coming out of Australia. Finally, King Charles has opened up about his cancer diagnosis, saying that it can be daunting and at times frightening experiencing for those living with the illness. What else did King Charles have to say?
Yeah, this was a really heartwarming speech by the King. It was really interesting language, to have a monarch talking about, he said he feels like he became a statistic because, cancer touches the lives of almost everyone at some point, whether personally or through family and friends.
This story is far from over. As King Charles continues to battle illness and William steps into more responsibility, the royal family is on the edge of a new era. Whether you're Team Palace, Team Sussex, or just here for the tea, this channel's got you covered. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and turn on the bell so you don't miss what happens next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.